The NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of him.
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner, the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Colin Thompson Show, presented by Not For Long Media and our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com. I got Jack in the back joining me today. We were hanging out talking all things NFL. After this interview, we're going to throw on, or this conversation, we're going to throw on our friend Mike Gill from 97.3 ESPN. We talked all things Eagles, some different news around the NFL, NBA. Joel Embiid scored 70 points last night. Incredible game. Jack actually watched the NBA last night, start to finish, watched the entire game.
You've been watching more and more NBA regular season basketball this year, and I've never been prouder. It is actually chaos as we talk in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks, I don't know if you saw this pop up on your phone the last 10 minutes. The Milwaukee Bucks are 30-13, and they just fired their head coach middle of the season without a win. But now they're planning Doc Rivers, expected to be the new interim. Like they have an interim, but Doc Rivers is it's complete madness. It has to be something behind the scenes, is my imagining, because or something very serious, because you're second place in the East, 30-13. You're on pace for 60 wins.
Let's go to the phones. Do we think Doc Rivers back to Philadelphia? Is that a rivalry game? What do you think? Does Doc know the inside secrets to stopping the Sixers? 610-63. I mean, you can already hear it. You can already hear it.
They'll say the secret to stopping the Philadelphia 76ers is putting Doc Rivers behind their bench. That is what they would say.
I disagree. But at the end of the day, I was very impressed with the NBA product last night. There was still some times I thought Joel Embiid was just trying to score points early in the first quarter, just obnoxiously trying to get 70. That's what I thought when I watched the first quarter. I'm like, Joel's trying to drop buckets here. And I get it. Like, if you could dominate like that, do it. But guys are like slashing to the rim and like open. He's just like pulling up from three. I'm like, or like a reverse elbow jumper. Of course he makes it, right? I'm looking like an idiot. He's unbelievable. He's the best player on the planet. That doesn't mean people aren't better, more accomplished. But like, if you never watched basketball in your life and just like popped on a court and you're like, who the hell is this guy? It's got to be Joel, right?
Joel, I mean, maybe the only other person at this point is Giannis. I mean, there's a couple dudes that have just been in this season alone, have been outstanding. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, outside of the normal LeBron, KDs.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course. I mean, KD's probably in that. I'm saying LeBron in his prime, right? Like, if I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying Joel is holy cow.
I think the stat. I mean, he is having the best scoring season of all time, unless your name's Wilt Chamberlain. Like, I think he actually is having a higher points per minute than Wilt did when he averaged like 50 points a game. Because Wilt played like 48 minutes a game when he's dropped 50. So that's a completely different thing. But I mean, the fact that he continues to get more and more absurd each year when you think he's at his peak is insane.
Well, that concludes our NBA talk for the rest of the season. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the Colin Thompson Show, presented by Not For Long Media. Like I said, Fudge Kitchen. Check them out. They ship fudge and sweet treats across the country. Fudgekitchens.com. No, I'm kidding. It's funny. These sports, they all kind of coexist at the same time, especially the NBA and the NHL, right? Their season started on the same time. The Islanders fired their head coach and hired Patrick Waugh out of like the Quebec Junior League, who now Patrick's one of the best goalies, if not the best of all time. They hired him to be a head coach. He's with the Avs back in the day and had a bunch of success there before getting in the kind of riff and then leaving town. But I mean, to fire a coach in season and not bring the interim up, owners are taking big swings, which I appreciate. There's a lot of big swings going on this week in the NFL before we get into divisional games and the championship games coming up. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations to Dan Morgan on getting the general manager job for the Carolina Panthers. I played for Dan, with Dan, my final 2 years in Carolina. First-class guy, human being from the Philadelphia area, played at the U, played for the Panthers, is a legendary player. And then front office-wise, I was really excited when we in Carolina brought him over from Buffalo. I only heard great things about him. I know he's worked in several front offices throughout his career. This isn't just a guy who played and just like jumped into some high-ranking job. He worked his all the way up. super smart, super creative, young at heart, relates to players. I think he'll do really big things there. And I'm a big fan of hiring the GM before the head coach. I think to have complete alignment through different things, when you hire the GM and the head coach and everything in kind of order from there, things fall into place. And I find that teams are more in sync. Just some places I've been in the past, but who knows? I'm just a player trying to gain as much information as I can, sitting in a couple, middle row, seat 12 in some team meeting room, trying to take it all in. So congrats to Dan. I see nothing but success in his future in Carolina. He's going to do great things there. They have a young core there. We'll see what happens in Carolina, but I thought that was really exciting stuff. So lots to talk about here. We'll be brief, but to touch on a few things we talked about last week, I thought the Ravens were going to have a big win. I thought the Niners were going to have a big win. Obviously, the Packers played great, 21-24. The Niners beat them. I thought Brock Purdy, right? Everyone's like, oh, Brock, they're trashing him this week and all this stuff. I just think, let's keep Brock where Brock is, right? Like, it's very Claude Giroux and Philly situation for those that track the Flyers. Like, people compared him to Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, all these all-time greats. And it's okay to just be an all-star. It's okay to just be a Pro Bowler. You're still the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Like, Kirk Cousins is elite. Brock Purdy is elite. But are they going to be legendary, accomplished players that affect winning at the craziest, highest level, no matter how good or how bad their team is around them? There's only a few of those people on the planet. People, human beings, like quarterbacks, there's only like 8 of them. Maybe not even 8. There's like 5. And they got to be healthy and upright, and everything needs to go well enough for them to have impact. So, let's just keep Brock where Brock is. And that's like a freaking Pro Bowler who's really good and is going to have a great career. I thought the hand size thing was a real deal, Jack, with the wet ball. I do. I think that's those throws are easy routine ones for Brock. And that's Brock's thing. He makes the routine stuff consistently do it well. He makes it look easy. But I think the wet ball really got to him. And some of those easy dump off throws to the back and the shallow routes, that ate him up.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it Cam Newton that had a good quote a couple weeks ago talking about game managers, not in the normal sense of game managers, but talk about like Dak Prescott. I don't know if you mentioned Kurt. I just know Dak was kind of the one that specifically came to mind.
Dak, Kurt, and Purdy.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's like 5 guys who are just insane that can turn a game over on its head.
Lamar,
I mean, it's like Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, Herbert. I mean, maybe. I mean, Burrow is not like an athletic freak. Like, I would put Burrow in the game manager tier because, I mean, you would consider Tom Brady.
I would put Burrow in the elite group. He does some things that are stupid all the time. He's been hurt this year. So I would put him up there. I put Rodgers up there when he's healthy.
I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like, I would say Burrow's like a top 5 quarterback, absolutely. I just don't know if he's got like
right now
crazy like.
Yeah, right now, it's the 3 big guys. It's Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. Like right now, right? That just stick out. Like, you don't have to even think about it. There's no debate. There's no one really debating you. Like, you could say what you want about Josh Allen, but holy shit. You see the things he did in that game? Like, the throws he made and the runs and the leadership. And you forget it's like 12 degrees outside. Like, I don't believe the Buffalo Bills championship windows closing. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Crazy? No shot. Now, they made some decisions, I think, in free agency that were tough ones over the last couple of years. But they got a great GM. They got a great front office. They got great ownership. They got great home field advantage. They got a legit elite, one of the 3-4 best quarterbacks in the world. What's the problem? But that's what we love to do. It's got to be boom. It's got to be it's over, or it's golden, or it's stupid.
Like, literally look earlier this year at the Kansas City Chiefs. People said the Chiefs season was over because, granted, they trade Tyreek Hill and they won a Super Bowl.
The Bills season was over.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, the Chiefs, everybody said, oh, they're done. They have no weapons. Mahomes is screwed. They only have a defense, no run game. Now you look at them, they're 1 win away for a Super Bowl. I mean, like, as long as you got that guy under center and you got the right head coach, like, anything can be done. I mean, there's no question.
It's good to see Jordan Love in Green Bay doing well. That's really cool. I love guys doing well. Like, I'm just not in the business of like, told you. I hate that. I really do. Now, I tell it to Jack. about certain things. Coaches fired or hired or whatever. But like guys that are like, oh, that guy's not going to be good, and then he does well. Really cool to see there. How about Baker Boy, man? Absolutely lighting it up. He's going to get paid. He's going to have legit leverage.
He's probably
Like,
going to get a Geno contract.
he should. I mean, Christ, I don't know. He looked better than Geno to me. I like Geno. Played with him in New York. Great guy. Great player. But like Baker, it's all what you can do for me lately. He's probably going to get a bigger contract than Geno. I
Well,
wouldn't be shocked.
I'm just per year. Geno got like 50-some million a year.
Did
I don't
he?
know how much more big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
he basically the cap implication is basically a 1 year, $50 million contract, if I remember correctly.
Then I'm an idiot.
But
I'm an idiot, and you're a genius. But yes,
yeah,
you're 100% right, Jack.
thank you.
I mean, Baker, boy, they got to find a way to pay him. I don't know. They may not even be able to afford him. They're in cap issue, and they got to pay all these guys, Mike Evans. So, yeah, Detroit, I'll tell you what. People are all hammering the Niners, and I'm a huge Niners fan. Obviously, I always talk about C-Mac. I always talk about the team, the athletes, the players, the coaches, the whole nine. Big Purdy fan. I love their defense. Big Steve Wilkes fan. But if there's any team in the league that matches up with them, it's the Detroit Lions. I mean, they're built just like them. Like, if you look at they're like, look at position group by position group and be like, all right, you want to talk about teams that are built the same? Here they are. Here they are. So obviously they're all premier matchups at this point of a time. But man, oh man, we are in for a treat of football for both of these games this weekend. I mean, treat of treats. I can't wait. Maybe I'll get rid of my cold by this time this weekend, Jack. So I have a couple cold beers and watch the game with the boys. You know what I'm saying? What do you do, Jack? You working the whole time during the games.
Yeah, I was on social media. I just see a highlight and I'm just ready to start tweeting stuff out. I'm just watching the game. It's just from a little more professional standpoint than most tweeters. I don't really take myself that seriously.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes, you do. No, it's exciting stuff. The Texans had a great year. I wanted to give them a shout out. What they have going on with the future with CJ Stroud, Nick Caserio, the GM. So Nick Caserio was the assistant GM, guys, with the Patriots for a very, very long time. Played receiver coach there. He was the only pre-draft interview I had. My agent couldn't believe it. That was like the best compliment I ever got in my career. Was I had an interview with him pre-draft, one-on-one. Put me to the grills, and he's an elite GM, and he was really intense and really, really good at what he did, and that's why he's now general manager of the Texans. And you've seen success, like D'Amico, the quarterback, the GM. If they have that alignment, we always talk about it. They're going to have success. So playing a little sick today. Just wanted to get on here and thank everybody. Touch base on some of these games this weekend. I made predictions for the games last week, Jack. So I'll give my prediction last week was Ravens win big. You know, they're the kings of the AFC coming off a break. I think they win big. Thought the Niners would win big. They didn't. Packers are super impressive. And I mean, quite frankly, they're going to be one of the teams to beat in the entire NFC next year. Now that they're doing well, they're going to get some free agents. They're going to have some cap space. They're a young football team. They're going to get even better. So that's a tough day to be a Vikings fan, Bears fan, Lions fan. I mean, that Packers team is legit. Wouldn't be crazy if they would have won. They would have went to Detroit, place they won on Thanksgiving Day, right? So a lot of stuff there. Bucks, what's their future going to look like? Who knows? But Baker Boy had a great year. And then the Bills. I mean, listen, the emergence with Joe Brady when he got there to what they are now is super impressive. Very, very, very impressive. And, the sky's the limit for that team. That's for sure. So picture this weekend, Chiefs Ravens. Man, I love this Chiefs team. You know, they're that team, and people were talking about it earlier today, like these teams in dynasty mode, right when you think they're losing some games late in the season and they don't look as pretty and they're turning the ball over and they have drops and whatever it may be, they end up sneaking out a Super Bowl, and you're like, damn, that's one of the best teams and best dynasties of all time. And I think the Chiefs will be, but I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I think the Ravens win by a touchdown plus. I do. I think it's nothing to do with the Chiefs. It has everything to do with the Ravens at home, 3:00 Sunday. Place is going to be rocking. Now, Buffalo's, I think, a harder place to play than Baltimore due to weather, fans, chaos. But I just like this Ravens team a lot. They beat themselves a little bit against the Texans. I don't think they're going to do that against the Chiefs again. So I like the Ravens by a touchdown plus. The Lions-Niners game, I really look at the lines on this, but the Lions are getting a touchdown. Oh, man, I think it's going to be super close game. Super close game. I think it's straight up coin flip. I don't think it's like this touchdown game or anything. I think it's a straight up coin flip. Detroit's got all the things they need to do to win on the road. The Niners have all the things they need to do to win at home. So that's a coin flip game. No answer out of me, Jack. But what do you think? Who wins, Jack?
I don't know. I mean, I flip-flop back in my head with both games. I feel like San Francisco, I mean, it's the vibes of the Lions. Everything in my brain tells me it is the 49ers from every perspective. My heart's telling me Detroit's the team of destiny. But even in these situations, the team of destiny gets crushed.
Yep.
Like, I feel like it's going to be the Niners. And I don't know. Like I said, you come at, again, it's a heart versus mind thing with the AFC. Ravens are the best at every single position unquestionably besides like quarterback. I mean, and even that's a toss up this season. And then you look at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are just all like they going into this playoffs are like, oh, they could be a one and done team, but they just keep managing to look good, better and better and better. And it's just like, oh, like they could do it to Mahomes, but then you look at the Ravens, like their defense, Mike McDonald, like
their defense matches up. You can't scheme up one-on-one coverage versus Queen and Roquan Smith.
They literally have an answer for everything.
Yeah.
Their pass rush. One of my favorite untalked about stories this year is Jadeveon Clowney's research. It's probably his best year ever. Like, when do you see this from number 1 overall pick kind of be all right for most of the career? Like, he's good enough to never not be considered a bust at all. And then 29, 30, however what he is, he just explodes onto the scene as the player he was expected to be his whole career. It's truly tremendous. So I guess gun to my head, I'll say Niners Ravens. The easy answer.
Yeah, easy answer. I like it, Jack. Very chalky to you. I try to give bold picks, not just they win by whatever. But I like it. You can be ride the fence. It's okay. You're a conspiracy theorist that buys into the color of the logo of the Super Bowl.
No, I'm never. I just because I like the logos doesn't mean I'm believing in the conspiracy surrounding them.
You'll be at the Super Bowl, right, Jack?
I'll be there Super Bowl week. I will not be at the big game, unfortunately, unless somebody wants to buy me tickets. I'll accept donations. Anybody?
Crickets. All right, guys, that does it for Jack and I. We're going to send over to Mike Gill. Appreciate everybody supporting us and our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com. Check out all our shows at Not For Long Media, notforlongmedia.com. Thanks for all your support, guys. Here's Mike Gill.
Ask him the question that I started. He's a big hockey guy, by the way. Flyers tonight. You can listen to the game against Tampa on 97.3 ESPN. Flyers have obviously turned their fortunes around a bit, but last night, Joel Embiid 70. All right. So we talked yesterday. Ryan and I were talking about, we're doing the show at Ocean. We said, maybe we should go to the game. Playing Victor Wembanyama, blah, blah, blah. We end up not going to the game. Embiid scores 70. Historic. Place is crazy. 2003, Colin Thompson. Me and my buddy talked about going to a Phillies game. Millwood pitches a no-hitter. So would you rather be at a Major League Baseball no-hitter or a 70-point historic NBA game?
Wow. I would say a no-hitter or a complete game because you're going to win. The team will win. But your best player could drop 70, you still could lose. Now, I'm sure the percentage isn't too high on that. But it's a great question, Mike, but I would probably say some sort of feet on the mound. It includes more people than scoring 70. Because there were some times last night early in the game, I don't watch a lot of Sixers, but I flipped the game on. It was on NBA TV. Not a lot going on. No more Monday Night Football. Sadly, the season's winding down. Obviously, 4 teams left. And popped the game on, and he was forcing the ball out and doing really well in the first quarter. And I'm like, all right, this is the NBA. I knew
4 points in the first quarter, by the way.
Yeah. There were some guys open that I thought he could have dished to, but he wasn't. So good for him. He had a huge night. He's a stud, man. He's an absolute beast. I've seen him out twice in public, gallivanting around Philly in my day, and he is massive, and he's super nice. And we were at a bar. He doesn't drink, at least he didn't at the time. And he was down there with his group of folks. There's probably about 4 or 5 people with him. And everybody who came up to him, they kind of escorted him out of the area. But we were the group of 4 people that didn't go up to him. And we ended up having a private area with Joel's people. They bought us all a round of drinks. Joel just played video games in the back the whole time. We were in a barcade. And they were super nice. So I'm a big fan. And he was really gracious to us.
So we asked the question on Twitter at Mike Gill Show, and right now it is pretty close. I'm pretty surprised. It is 55% one way, 44% the other way. So I'll let you try to think which one is winning, but hold
Probably
that
basketball
thought.
because it's recently.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. We'll see. I'll reveal the numbers at the end of the conversation here. But I want to get and pick your brain a little bit here. The Eagles, this whole situation. I want to first say from you, if you're a player and you're watching all this happen, how are you handling if you're an Eagle player watching? Is the coach getting fired? Should he be fired? Is the coordinator getting fired? Should he be fired? The defensive coordinator, you knew he was gone, but this has got to be an odd situation if you're a current player on that team.
Yeah, not that long ago, Mike, they probably should have beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, right? Like, and people.
And by the way, not that long ago, they beat the Chiefs on the road this year.
Yeah, Bills at home. So, Mike, to take it into these situations, I've been a part of them where there's been firings inside of a situation. Joe Brady got fired from Carolina inside of a season. Matt Rule got fired inside of a season. I've also been there where you get fired in the offseason. General managers, coaches. It's very weird. And you have an opinion as a player because you know what goes on. And I bet you 75% of the players agree on certain things like, okay, this guy's not qualified for the job, or this guy's plenty qualified and we're just not playing well enough, which I think that's the case with the Eagles on a lot of those situations. Personally, like Eagles ran the same offense last year. It's the same thing. And they had a lot of success. Players didn't play that well this year. Defensively, remotely the same defense. Really. Like, at the end of the day, like a couple things here and there, a little different scheme, but like same defense. Same cats out there too, really. So at the end of the day, like players didn't play well this year. I know fans don't like that because you can't quantify that. You can't put a total on that. But with a coach, you're like, hell, their record's this. Players didn't play well. And they'd be the first to admit it. A lot of those guys in the room. So I think the Eagles you're going to see some massive roster changes. You already see some coaching changes, but the roster is going to make a big change too.
Obviously Brian Johnson, he was up for head coaching jobs and he is the coordinator who's about to get fired. He then does get fired.
Yeah.
Some reporting coming out that some of the players are not happy with how this is being handled. Can you understand why?
Well, there's my point, right? Like there could be guys in that room that are like, no, he's not the problem. Right? We don't know what the problem is. It could be, something to do with.
Let me ask you, okay? You've played in the league, obviously. How would it sit with a coordinator if he had to call someone else's offensive plays? Colin Thompson, I'm Mike Gill. This is my offense. I want you to call my plays, not your plays that you design, not your offense. I want you to run my offense and call the plays. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's where I was getting at. That there's always, when there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, the buck stops with the higher ups and the highest paid, but you don't know where the buck stops really when you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, Mike. So sometimes it could go well, right? If things are going well, which happened before, it was Sirianni's offense and Steichen called the plays, right? And now it's Sirianni's offense, and Johnson was calling the plays, right? So I just think, Mike, of course there's going to be some rub, but at the end of the day, like, I don't think Nick wanted to fire those guys. Like, I really don't. Because I just think if you watch the games and like, people are missing tackles, people aren't getting to their passer, we're not doing well on third down. Like, yeah, the coaches are a problem. I get that, but I disagree with that philosophy. Like, the players did not play well. And, like, it's not a fun thing to hear, but it's true, I think. And that's not me, like, calling any of those guys out. I play with a lot of them and know them all. And, like, the reason why Coach Rule got fired in Carolina, we had plenty of stud rosters. Like, Baker Mayfield was our quarterback. Look at Baker now. We've had Teddy Bridgewater, and he did well. Sam Darnold showed a lot of strength with us too. C-Mac, but we sucked. Players didn't play well. And I just think at the end of the day, like, you can have all the coaching you want, but you got to go out there and block and tackle. Football's pretty simple.
Okay, well, then let's look at the talent on the offense. Let's start there.
Yeah.
If you were to look at the Eagles' offense and say there's a weakness and they need to address it this offseason, where would that be? To say the players are the problem.
That's a great question, right? I did say the players are a problem. I don't think necessarily the calling of the plays were the issue. I just think the overall scheme of it. I've said it before. I think like Jalen's graduated from the Kansas City offense, the Buffalo offense, where you can play in the gun and you got to be hero. I think he needs to be more under center, more Brock Purdy, more Kirk Cousins. And that's fine. Even though I think he's in that upper category, Jalen, but I think he needs to play more like them and they need to put him in those positions. But I wouldn't personally, I don't know where you dress changing players offensively for the Eagles. If Jason Kelsey comes back, which I think there's still a possibility, a big one in that, you don't change
Is that
center.
based on him drinking out of the bowling ball,
No, that's
jumping
completely
out of
normal.
the suite?
That's just another day. It's just another day at the office for the big boy.
I mean, when you saw him do that, like I said, I tweeted this out. Has there ever been an active player or newly retired, which he has not retired officially yet? Has there ever been an active player from another team in the stands of an actual NFL game partying to that? I don't even know that there's ever been a guy who just goes and sits in the crowd at another game.
Mike, I guarantee you there has been several, but they're not sitting in Taylor Swift's box, right? They're not hanging out up there.
You don't think, wait a second. You don't think if Taylor Swift wasn't there and Jason Kelsey jumped out of his suite,
It would,
that wouldn't have been.
But I'm saying if you say you're a Pro Bowler, or say you're like a really good player in the league, not a Pro Bowler. Let's just say who would be for the Eagles? Let's just say Kevin Byard, right? Kevin Byard's at the game and he's shotgunning beers and he's having a great time, and they're not scanning to him in the crowd.
Probably. Well, they probably don't even know who recognize him.
That's what I'm saying. He's still a great player in the
Kelsey's
NFL.
so recognizable.
Correct. So back to your question. Listen, I just think they've graduated from that offense. It's time to get under center, run at play action pass, really draw linebackers up, have Jalen play to his strengths instead of be Superman. You saw when Buffalo got away from Josh Allen being Superman. Like, they had a huge successful run. Joe Brady changed the offense. We're going to run the ball more. We're going to get under center, play action pass. Diggs is not going to have these crazy games anymore. It's going to be more of a normal situation.
Yeah.
And you saw their success. Kansas City.
I agree with you there. I bought more into the bill. At the beginning of the season, I said, I think their window has closed. They don't run the ball at all. The whole thing changed when they decided to get Cook involved in the game.
Yep. And their offensive line is very good. They're built just like the Eagles. Like the Bills offensively, like really great offensive line. They got great star players on the outside. So I wouldn't change anything in the offense. I think defensive wise, you're going to get an updated scheme from somebody else. But at the end of the day, like, unless you bring in a cover zero, Brian Flores type defense where they're bringing pressure every play and it's boom or bust now. Like, it's either a touchdown for 70 or it's a tackle for loss or interception. It's still the same stuff. They're going to run 4 or 5 down front. They're going to run cover 2, some man-to-man, and cover 3. Like, what can you do on defense? Your players got your dudes got to step up on defense. That's what defense is all about. Is my best players playing their best at the right time. So when you probably dress the linebacker position, they're going to dress the entire defensive backfield. I think the front's really good. You got Hassan coming back for another year. I think Sweat's coming back. The whole interior. Does Cox and Graham come back? So the roster's great, other than probably a couple positions groups, but they'll be fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Bradbury situation with his contract and the way he played, you're going to have to address whether or not you want to give him another year at that price. You can't get out of the deal. If you do, you're going to be eating a lot of dead money. Slay stepped back a little bit. Now he's got some injury. You got 2 older corners that you're now hoping bounce back from kind of years where it looked like they both took a step back. You'd probably need a slot because Maddox, I think, is done, and a lot of injuries there. You need 2 new linebackers and probably 2 new safeties.
And do you trust Howie with the draft and what he's going to do in free agency? Yes, of course you do. So I'm sure he's going to fill that void. He's going to make moves on draft day. He's going to go get players. Those players, again, that he drafted last year or 2 years ago, these big defensive stars out of Georgia, they'll have a whole nother year to get better and still be on rookie deals.
All right, let me ask you a question regarding the defense then.
Yep.
They had John Gannon, who's kind of from that Fangio tree. They went to Sean Desai, similar Fangio. Would you, with the way the offenses in the NFL are starting to go, would you get away from that scheme and try to find somebody with a different mindset? There's been names mentioned, Wink Martindale, Ron Rivera's name has been brought up, and Mike Caldwell is another name that's come across the wire.
Yeah, so it's either you're running some sort of base defense like you're going to see with Seattle with the cover 3 look and a safety down playing in the box ready to take your head off, right? Cam Chancellor days. Or you're going to play some sort of Vic Fangio style, which has big edge setters, which has a ton of success, like tons. And that's success for the Eagles last year. This year, listen, you can say what you want about the Eagles defense, but like, I don't know. When Sean Desai was the DC, what they only lose 2-3 games. So like, yeah, I know the defense was imperfect, but was that like Jimmy's and Joe's or X's and O's? Like, whoa, okay, what is that? And then secondly, or thirdly, you'll see like Wink Markindale, Brian Flores. You're seeing these high pressure, cover 0, confuse the quarterback stuff. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles go with that route where you go for a Wink Martindale. You go for these guys that are going to bring a ton of pressure now. So Eagles fans, hold on. You wanted it, but you're going to have guys literally playing man-to-man coverage with no safety help over the top. It's pure cover 0, meaning no safety, a little inside man-to-man coverage, and you can't be ripping these corners when they get beat because they're not playing normal defense. Like you're on an island. It's not Darrelle Revis out there. So,
and you've got James Bradbury, who's probably lost 2 steps, and Slay, who's getting older.
They'll probably restructure. I mean, Howie's going to be creative with them, right? Like he's going to find a way to either restructure or move on from them or trade them or whatever. So they're going to be.
Kevin Byard does have another year left. They probably can. I think if it's either post June 1st or something that they can get a $14 million relief there. So we'll see. DeAndre Swift's going to be interesting because he's a free agent. We know they don't want to pay the running back.
No, they don't. And I think with DeAndre, I think my gut just tells me there was something more there why he wasn't getting any more carries, whether he was on a pitch count because of injury. I have no idea. It's pure speculation. But like, you can't be that good and show that success and then not get the ball as much as he did.
Yeah.
Or didn't.
I will see, because I think the Kelsey thing is interesting because if you have to move Juergens over, then you have to figure out, do you want to take someone in the draft to play that position? Or if Kelsey comes back, do you feel like, all right, we can hold off on that position? Because they do have 3 picks in the top 65. They have, and by the way, the comp picks just got announced today. They got an extra 3rd and 3 extra 5ths.
Wow.
That's a lot of capital.
That's a ton. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be worried about the Eagles roster. Yes, of course, there's going to be some position groups, but that's every year. You're looking at a position group and you're like, okay, we got to flip it over. Last year, they paid the DBs. This year, they're going to have to figure that out. Like, that's just normal business. That's normal business in any job. So it's great points, Mike. I think, the one thing for the Eagles moving forward is like, what's our identity going to be on offense? And what's our identity going to be on defense? And we're going to stick with it no matter what happens. And here we go. And it may make Nick Sirianni look like a genius or a guy that just lost touch. Right?
Colin Thompson, the Colin Thompson Show, Not For Long Media. Check out their social media platforms for more from Colin. And, of course, this weekend is the championship games, Kansas City, Baltimore, Detroit, San Francisco. And you can hear them all right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, brother, have a good week.
Thanks, Mike. Go Flyers.